Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to MEFC Red Devils NCR's new video, where we're going to be talking about the season ahead for Manchester United. We're going to be playing our first game of the season against Crytsal Palace at home. And, well, we all know how that turned out to be last season. We had to come back from behind to level it, and then we eventually lost it almost, at the last minute, I guess. Again, one of those very uncharacteristic De Gea errors which led to the goal. So I have with me Ashley again. Ashley, good to have you back.
Hi Mojo,
And
good
a
to
big
be back.
shout out, and a big shout out to your channel as well, Crossbar Football Insights. It's good to collaborate with you guys. So yeah, let's start. How do you believe? I mean, my highlight, if any, wherein we can start this video is that we qualified for Champions League, and the kind of run we had at the end of last season was quite commendable and was very reminiscent of the United of old. And how do you take United coming into this season as compared to or following on from how we finished last season with the euphoria of qualifying for Champions League?
Well, I think we twice, the end of last season and this season, we completely were off the boil for a period of time where we shouldn't have lost to the Crystal Palaces and the Burnleys and those type of teams, mid-table and the lower table teams. But commendable that we managed to come back. Of course, as we've discussed before, the catalyst was Bruno Fernandes.
Yes.
And that we actually got Champions League was really, I mean, I did not even think in December that we'd even Europa League would be difficult the way things were going. And always towards the end of the season, other teams find some extra push from somewhere where they, bring out their best. And they, as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, all these teams, they will perform badly against everyone else, but bring out their best against Manchester United. So towards the end of the season, we were lucky that COVID, the games were played, in away games, home games, away games, our advantage was lost. There were no crowds. So we played well, but I think we were very inconsistent. It was a very inconsistent season, and inconsistencies of the other sides also played a huge part in us actually qualifying for the Champions League. Leicester, whoever thought that that they would be now in the Europa League instead of the Champions League, because they were right up there, third place for a majority of the season. And then Chelsea caught up with them, Manchester United caught up with them, and then they got fifth place. So these are the vagaries of the league, but yes, you have to be consistent. And well, now we got Champions League and we should push on from there.
Right. And I guess when you talk about consistency, nothing better than what United's form was ever since we signed Bruno in January. I guess we went the entire second half of the season unbeaten in the Premier League.
Yes, we did. And it's the energy he brings to the team. It is a positive mindset he brings to the team. They were doing things they were not doing earlier. Ball was going midfield, sideway passing, backway passing, sideways passing, nothing going forward at all. After Bruno came, he probably would try 15 passes. First time passes, some ridiculous angles. Out of 15, he just needs to get one or two right. And that would result in a goal. But there was no one earlier who was actually doing that. We didn't have that type of player. We didn't have that.
Exactly.
So he's come in and just changed the whole mindset. I mean, they're all so positive. They all want to get onto that pitch. Everybody is fighting to play. It was a sea change. Really, it was amazing.
And Bruno's so-called relationship on the pitch with Martial, as well as his bromance off the pitch, has led to Martial rediscovering himself totally. I mean, you wouldn't see Martial making the kind of runs that he has made in the second half of the season. In the first half, he was a forlorn, kind of a lost kind of a player that we had there, and we have far more often, seen, very Martial-driven agendas that fans are not very happy with him. And post Bruno coming in, the kind of services he got and the kind of goals he scored, I think they both complemented each other in the kind of run we had in the second half of the season.
I think it was Louis van Gaal who bought him, right, Martial?
Yeah, Louis van Gaal, yeah.
That was the only good thing he did, I think, bringing in Anthony Martial. And to think
Probably, yes.
Jose Mourinho wanted to sell him.
That's a shocker, actually, for somebody as astute a manager as Mourinho to think that Martial was not worth his game plan is quite astonishing.
He's doing the same at Spurs. Ndombele is a fantastic player, but under Mourinho, he has no motivation.
Right.
He's not even performing at 40% of his ability. Okay.
Right.
Mourinho now, at this point of time in his career as a coach, has mastered the art of losing the dressing room. Okay, yeah. He's lost it at Chelsea. He lost it at Manchester United. He wanted to sell Pogba. He wanted to sell Martial. Absolute madness. And now he's doing the same at Spurs. I just hope they've got some pretty easy in terms of the quality of the teams he's facing till December. And then December, he's got some tough games. I wonder if he will even have his job by December. On the basis of that performance against Everton, if they're going to play all games like that, every team are going to fancy their chances against Spurs.
I mean, somewhere I think Jose has let himself become, or rather let his ego become bigger than all the clubs that he's managed. I mean, to get sacked from Real Madrid, to get sacked from Chelsea, to get sacked from United. And probably, I hope it doesn't, because you don't want anybody to lose their jobs. But if that was the eventual thing that would probably happen at Spurs as well, I guess Jose at club level is more than finished. But anyway, coming back to United, so we've got Champions League now. How do you think? I mean, all of us fans know what's been happening across social media in terms of the signings we need. In terms of the names, or in terms of the numbers of players we need to bring in, or in terms of the players we need to ship out, the deadwood. And through the entire frustration of the last 1.5 months or 2 months, the only thing that we've been able to do is a cracking signing, let's be honest, although we've only done one. But Van de Beek coming in has definitely added to the quality of our midfield. But definitely nowhere near what we need to be able to challenge, given that how City have strengthened, Chelsea have strengthened, Arsenal will be looking good under Arteta in the first season. And City definitely are not going to lose 9 matches this season. So given how our competitors are near and around us have strengthened, I guess just signing one player so far isn't good enough. And we are just dilly-dallying on all the other names. It's like we are monitoring it, we are considering it, we are not sending in bids. It's just all over the place right now. So what do you think should be happening in the remainder part of 3 to 4 days before we play Crytsal Palace, and or the remainder part of the transfer window?
This is Ed Woodward at his absolute best.
Right.
Okay. This is what he does to perfection. You know? The players are there to be bought.
Right.
I don't understand now. For example, the Sancho deal. All right. If they end up paying the 120 million and buying Sancho, which if they want him, they need to pay that money, because Dortmund are not going down on their price. If he could do it now, why couldn't he do it in the beginning in the first place? Is he hoping Dortmund are going to come down to 50 and 60 million? No way. If they had the money to pay, finish it.
Right. My understanding about United, like a lot of fan channels do talk about it, and we as fans also know it, that we're not a football club anymore. We are a business club. And My understanding says that yes, to a certain extent, it might be to create pressure on Dortmund because Sancho was also interested in leaving, or rather is still interested in leaving. But then the way we act at times is that you would want to save that weekly wages till the very last week before the season kicks off. Probably that's also one of the very money stingy ways to look at signings that we do. I mean, look at the last season. Maguire got signed barely 2 days before the season got kicked off. So, I mean, there are a lot of fans who around the first week of August, were on the hype or the high that because the dates on which the previous three signings signed, James, Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka, are the shirt numbers they are actually carrying now. Everybody was hoping that 7th of August will be the date when we'll be, announcing Sancho. It didn't happen. Now the social media thing is going on about 2 days before the last window closed, we signed Maguire, and then Maguire was playing in the very first match. So that's the thing that is going on right now. But something tells me that the Sancho deal should happen. But then something also tells me, and I asked this youth the question that fine, it's one thing to say that Sancho, if it doesn't happen this summer, then it doesn't happen at all for us. But if you had 110 million or 108 million pounds to spend, would you not then sign Reguilon, the player that we associated with on the left back, and probably a centre back, and probably a CDM, and spend that money in strengthening 3 or 4 positions rather than on just one player, and have the quality of the squad improve overall? Maybe you can look at some other talent in the next summer or in the January transfer window.
If I had that money to spend, bought Reguilon, paid even 5 million extra and bought Upamecano, and bought Ismail Assar. We have Tuanzebe that can be converted into a CDM. Okay, as I've said earlier, he's played that position before. If we buy Reguilon, our right back is taken care of because Brandon Williams can play there. We've got Van der Beek, Pogba, Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Okay, now considering on the formation he plays, one of them will be on the bench. So we have bench strength where that is concerned. Then we still have Fred, we still have McTominay. Okay, they can play, if not Premier League, maybe the cup games, Carabao and FA Cup games. We have, if we get Cesar or Sancho, or we need a right winger. Martial through the middle, Rashford on the left. The problem is now is playing Igalo. You have nobody to cross the ball to him. Igalo looked lost in all the games because he wasn't getting, whenever the little that he played, because nobody was cross. Igalo is a player he's a box player. He's going to stay in the box and wait for the crosses, or he'd hold the ball up somewhere. But he's just not getting the service. So in this formation, unless you get somebody, Wan-Bissaka is so poor at crossing the ball, it's not funny. 1 out of 10 crosses. James is bad at crossing. James, when he reaches the box, he doesn't know what to do. He's got the speed and pace.
James, like I've always said, James, I've always maintained that he's a one-dimensional player. What we discussed in our chat the other day as well.
Yes.
He's been effective on hitting the teams on the break, and that's about it. But then I guess it'll be unfair, to judge a player on his first season itself, who's come from a championship side like Swansea. So I would rather give him this year to develop further.
I agree absolutely. I'm saying currently on present form, he is not the right player for that position. Okay, after a year he improves and whatever. That's fine. Of course, he definitely looks like he will improve. He looks like he's a talent and a long-term signing. But currently, he isn't delivering. So until he starts delivering, he's not part of the equation. Right? So, you get a decent right winger. James can be used when the opposition is tired, the last 20 minutes, where he comes in and just let him run at the opposition just to tire them out, if not anything. Okay, because the opposition...
Maybe against a bottom half team.
Yeah, bottom half team. Just use him that way and rest, your main player. But at least we have that him on the bench for the last 20 minutes or whatever. You can't play him. You can't play him from the start. It's not going to work. Okay, and the Martial, of course, has been doing an excellent job, and I think this year is going to be his standout season. He's going to Martial. I just get that feeling that this year, because even when he played for France, he played really well. He wasn't even in the French side, but they took him. I mean, he was taken into the side this year, and he's done really well. And Rashford desperately needs to improve too, because if he plays the same way he played the last games after the COVID, I think we're still going to have problems on the left. So, and we don't have an option. You take out Rashford and who? So that's another problem. But I think, I mean, in reply to your question, yes, if we had 120 million and buy left back, we need Lindelof and Maguire are going to be a disaster if they're going to be there for all the matches. No way. You need somebody else in that, to offset probably Lindelof or Maguire, because they cannot play all the
Like I said, I mean, there was right. There has been this news, I mean, rather a tweet that from the United stand that Roma have ended all the negotiations with United, the final bid for Smalling stays, and yes, because Roma's discussion with United has come to an end. I mean, because United have rejected the last offer that Roma sent in, and we said a no to that. And then we're also linked to a central midfielder from Valencia. I'm forgetting his name, but his release clause is in the range of about 92 million pounds. But because Valencia are going through some kind of a financial meltdown, United believe that deal can be done in about 30 to 35 million pounds. And he is kind of a player who you could use in multiple positions. So he can play as a CDM, he can also play as a central midfielder. So these are the two players they're looking at. But yes, again, the hype around Sancho has been such that, all hell behold, that if we were not going to sign him, we will become the banter FC of all the opposition fans. But then if we are able to, get in 2 or 3 good signings within that budget, then I would still think that it's been a decent window. But we are still struggling trying to move away our deadwood. We haven't found any suitors for Jones, any suitors for Rojo, Dalot, neither for Pereira. I mean, for all that, I mean, that is where a director of football comes in. If Oli wanted to bring back Henderson, our board would have known that. And for a board not to have found a club for Romero to move on to. So you are suddenly sitting on 4 first-team goalkeepers because Romero hasn't been able to find a club because our board are just sitting on their butts, not moving anything. And then you have a situation now that neither are you able to move the deadwood, and because you're not able to move the deadwood, you're not able to sign any others because then you're worried about your wage structure, that you're going to be carrying 4 or 5 players extra who are probably going to cost you about £1 million a week, which you haven't been able to move. So according to me, us getting into this new season is to a certain extent far lesser prepared than we would have liked to, given the hype that we were in the Champions League and given all the positivity that was going around the club. We believe that Oli is going to be backed, which so far, at least in the window, doesn't seem to be the case. And it's just upsetting that a manager, yet again, who has got us into the Champions League, has been left out to dry and not supported with the signings he wants. It could all be that, we don't get Sancho, but then you need to still strengthen 3 or 4 positions, which we haven't done as yet. So that's my worry, that we start the season with just 1 signing, which, let's be honest, is a quality world-class signing, but then we needed to strengthen in a lot more positions. I clearly remember discussing with you last time that Smalling, Lindelof, and Bailly are not going to be able to hold the Champions League quality attacks. And that is still a worry. And forget Champions League quality attacks. I don't think we're going to be able to handle Leeds. by the way Leeds turned up against Liverpool.
The
So
Premier League
that has
quality
been,
is so high.
so that's been the limitation in terms of where we are. And then to top it all up, the distractions we've had off field before the season starts. Pogba being infected with COVID, Aaron Van Bissaka, who went to Dubai for a holiday, had to be quarantined. We all know about Maguire's issues in the Greece sports and all the negative media that's surrounded Greenwood right now. So those four players need to be sorted out in terms of starting on the 18th or 19th, 19th when we play our first match. So first, we don't have the signings in place. And secondly, whoever we have is not entirely fit or not entirely in the right frame of mind. And Bruno is still a little distracted because the birth of his new baby. So I guess Ollie has a lot on his plate already.
I feel sorry for him because he has absolutely no support from Ed Woodward.
Right.
That's the bottom line. If Ollie was allowed to buy who he wanted, of course now he is fully aware of where spending needs to be done, how much spending has to be done. He also says that you don't have to go out and buy 100 million, 120 million player. You can buy 3 players of 40 million who will do the job for you.
Right.
But he has no support. You can't leave, as you said, he's being hung out to dry. He's been left in the lurch. You cannot expect him to perform, and then when he doesn't perform, then the Ollie outs will start. It's not fair.
Right.
I mean, he's a brilliant manager. He's a brilliant manager. He is the closest manager we have or will have who comes close to Sir Alex Ferguson's ideology and his way of training and coaching and stuff like that.
Right.
But he has no support. I don't see any way currently with the team he has that he's going to really, what can he do? I mean, yeah, if Bruno comes back, he's going to be rusty. Pogba and Van Bissaka are coming off. Van Bissaka off a quarantine, Pogba off a quarantine. I don't know how they're going to perform. I don't know how much they've practiced, right? He doesn't have a team in place with just Van de Beek. It's not enough. It's not enough. Considering the fact that we have to play teams like Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, Leeds, who have actually bought players, Wolves, it's going to be tough on him with what he's got at present. It's really going to be tough on him. I don't know why the board is doing this. As you say, a director of football is a must. Someone who knows the game, someone who can control, who have, employ good scouts,
Right.
There are European leagues, Brazilian leagues, lower leagues. There are players. Look at Vardy. Vardy came from a non-league club.
Exactly.
Okay, from a non-league club to actually end up finally after 2-3 years to play for Leicester City and then win the Premiership with them. Okay, so you need to scout players from even the Championship and whenever. You just need to have, to get good players. So you need to get that whole process in place, which is not happening because we don't have the personnel. You can't expect an investment banker, to have the know-how where footballing reasons are where football is concerned. So we need to get that whole our act together. Basically, as you said, they're just driven by profit, making money off the club, taking loans, paying back interest, using the club as collateral, which is what is happening right now. Somebody was seriously interested in football by now, Ollie would have had all his signings. And you just can't get your signing 2 days before the season starts and expect that player to come and perform. It's not going to happen. You need that player well in advance, at least 1 month in advance. If the window opens, before the window opens, you know which players you want to buy. If you are not prepared for what players you want to buy, I'm sorry, you need to step.
I mean, that's something which the likes of Man City have always done previously. They've got their signings well in time. And even Chelsea, for that matter, this time, they've signed their players, well 20 to 25 days before the seasons to start so that they can all gel and they can have their, all the strategies and the tactics worked out on the training field.
Exactly.
And we are still figuring it out, who to sign, when to sign, still considering and monitoring.
We have nothing figured out as yet. everything is still in limbo. And I just
Right.
don't know what is it going to take to get these guys to get their act together. I
But
don't know what.
let's then look at the the positives, so to speak. I mean, we have a first 11 now, a first 12 or 13, because we've got Henderson, who's going to be either the first choice or a reserve goalkeeper, and we've got Van de Beek over and above the first 11 that we had. So we now have 14 players who probably pick themselves on for every fixture that we'll play, which is De Gea, Henderson. Um, you have Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and Luke Shaw, followed up by Matic, Pogba, Bruno, and/or Pogba, Van de Beek, or Bruno Van de Beek. And up front, you'll have Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. So that first 14, so to speak, is on par with any quality that's there in the league. But it's just, of course, you're going to go through a situation where you're going to have injuries, where you're going to have suspensions, or you're going to have a congestion of fixtures when you need some substitutes and the bench strength to come to the fore. That's where we'll be lacking. But then I guess those 14 are good enough to start the league and definitely have a better first half of the season than we did last season's first half, which was all over the place, where we were losing to the likes of the West Hams and the Burnleys and whosoever of this world.
The difference is Bruno Fernandes.
Sure, but also the fact that Pogba was injured for the first half entirely.
Yes. Rashford too.
Rashford too, yes.
Yes, and there was the game. The games that we lost was so dreary and so bad to watch. Really,
Right.
I mean, as a fan and as a supporter, you didn't know where to look because there was nothing positive coming from anywhere. Right?
Right.
There was, I mean, where were the goals going to come from? There was no defense. And even this season, okay, we don't have a proper defense as yet. I'm still saying our defense is suspect.
Right.
We need one good centre back to cover for Lindelof and Maguire. There's no sense in having a good midfield, having Martial and the forwards score goals and then concede like we did against Sevilla. It is absolutely
Criminal.
Unacceptable.
Right.
To have the defense leak goals like that. Watching Liverpool.
I mean, they were equally bad.
I said, I just hope they play that way against Manchester United when they play. We'll definitely put a couple of goals past them. But you have to shore up your defense. It doesn't make sense having the best forwards and the best midfield when just one cross or one corner is enough to, get the ball in the back of your net where the opposition scores. And that's exactly what happened. The game against Sevilla, Martial must have missed, 4 or 5 open chances. Okay, Rashford missed. There were so many misses. We didn't score.
Right.
And then they had probably those 2 attempts which they took because the defense was sleeping.
Exactly. They just had 2 shots on target and they scored from both of them.
So that's, and then your concentration has to be there for 90 minutes. Okay, you just can't let the game drift. And you cannot give the opposition a toe in. Absolutely not. You have to maintain, that intensity for the full 90 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to concede. We conceded a corner at the end, 90 minutes against Southampton. Southampton, where we drew that game.
Yes, I think it was the 92nd minute or something like that.
Yes, so you cannot allow those things to happen.
Right. So, Ashley, given what we have in terms of the players we know who are going to be available, I don't think Pogba is going to be available. He's not going to be match fit. But I mean, it all remains to be seen. Given what we have, what system or what tactic do you think Ole is going to play against Crytsal Palace? His tried and tested 4-1-3-2, or what is it going to be?
He'll play a 4-3-3 definitely.
Okay.
I don't think that's a tried and tested formula for him, and I don't think he should change that initially.
Right.
I mean, let's see how the game progresses, but he's going to play 4-3-3. Of course, he has to play a CDM. So with Van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes. So he plays four at the back, one CDM, two midfielders, and three up front. I think that's the way he should go about it. And changing formation at this point of time, it doesn't make sense. To be very honest, he has to play safe. And we cannot lose that game, which considering the way considering the way things are, considering the way things are going, the players we have, the morale of the team, all the negative press that's been happening, that plays on the players' minds. So I just hope we manage to pull it off, but you need a win.
I mean, if we win, it's already a better result than last season because we didn't get 3 points in this fixture. So if you win, we are already 3 points better off. If you look at, I mean, if you know what I mean, we're looking at fixture to fixture, kind of the points that we got or lost.
Exactly. Yes.
So it'll be 3 points gained, and in a fixture where we lost the 3 points last season. And so just quickly, Ashley, whatever we have discussed, what are your predictions for the game?
I see a narrow victory. If Manchester United pull it off, it will be probably a 1-0, maximum 2-0. I don't see more than that. I would go for a 2-0 victory to Manchester United, but that's again considering all of them perform to their at optimum levels. Otherwise, Crytsal Palace are good for a draw, definitely, the way they played their first game. And if our defense decides to go to sleep, Zaha is a vastly improved player from what he was at Manchester United, and he's got the pace, he has the guile, and he just needs one shot, two shots on goal, just 2 tries. Probably out of that he's going to get one in, and that's more than enough. And then they're going to shut shop and defend, and we need to break down their defense. And other than Van de Beek, I don't know. I mean, he's still not a tried and tested product. So how he is going to actually perform in terms of the Premier League has to be seen. But then we need someone who's going to be able to break down opposition defenses. And unfortunately, we couldn't get Grealish because he's that type of a player. But of course, his club priced him out of a deal. But he would have been ideal for that type of situation, to try and break down, the opposition defenses, because they're going to score 1 and 2 and they're going to defend. That's what they're going to do. So you need someone to break down those defenses. So I see probably a 2-0 win for Manchester United. I don't think anything less will do.
Yes, I believe a 2-0 win would be a decent start, given all the troubles that we have had off the field, and given that we are extremely short on the signings as compared to what our competition has done. And let's hope for the best. I just hope United turn up this season. The first 14 now, so to speak, seem to be of a very good quality. But then we need the first 16 to be of a very good quality to be able to challenge for trophies. If not the Premier League title this season, but I believe we should be having a good cup run, for which I guess we are still 2 or 3 signings short. So let's hope for the best. And thanks again, Ashley, for your time.
Thanks, Mojo. Good to be here.
We look forward to doing these videos with you a lot more regularly in the future. And it's great to have your Crossbar Football Insights team together with us as well. And thank you, everybody. Do like and subscribe MUFC Red Devils NCR's YouTube channel. And we will have more videos and more discussions coming your way as we build this community. So thank you, everybody. And let's win this weekend and have a great season. Glory, glory, Man United. Take care, everyone.
JGMU, yes. Take care. Thanks, Mojo.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks.